Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, Reading Ideas. I'm going to talk a little bit about writing styles. I've not long ago finished Dr. Jekyll and Mr Hyde, and it's a fabulous book, very densely written, quite short, very clever idea for a plot, writing is wonderful. I was going to say but, you shouldn't say but, it is what it is and it's great. A writer that I've read a lot about is Hemingway, and he had very strong views on, how someone should write or rather how he wanted to write. And that kind of goes against, Robert Louis Stevenson's type of writing. And so it's Robert Louis Stevenson's type of writing is it's wonderful. I'm not just talking about Dr. Jekyll and Mr Hyde. Very clever plot, great writing, fabulous writing, loads of adjectives, very descriptive, but clearly something that didn't happen, was invented, and this goes against what Hemingway's style: short sentences, short paragraphs, vigorous writing. Be very passionate about it. But the twist with Hemingway and, you could say, his school or people who kind of did similar, I'll come on to that, is that it would have to be, there was no Dr. Jekyll and Mr Hyde. It was an invention. So that would go against Hemingway. He would write about war, having been to war. He would write about bullfighting, having been bullfighting. He would only write about deep sea fishing because he'd been deep sea fishing. Whereas Robert Louis Stevenson wasn't swallowing potions and shrinking and becoming a different character. And the other thing that he picked up when he was younger from being a journalist was to use positive language. So you don't say something was inexpensive. You say it was affordable. Don't say something was unclear. Yeah. So you would say it was, it's confusing. So you don't use, you don't put distance between yourself and the story and the reader. And now like all good Americans, he's a good marketer, and I'm just having read quite a lot of Hemingway, he was reading the Russians and the French writers and wanting to learn from them, rather than, I won't say rather than, but that kind of Victorian, clutching at pearls, ladies fainting, that kind of overwrought, talking about things that you don't really know, writing about going up the Amazon and wonderful creatures when you'd never been there. He was against all that type of fakery and invention. And now, so the idea, so obviously, Hemingway was picking up stuff and learning stuff. I'm just wondering if he read this. So this is Maupassant, selected short stories as an introduction. Now, he was learning from the Russians and the French by reading them. But how about this? So Hemingway liked to cut out adjectives, write simple sentences, clear, not using big long flowery words, not using synonyms or anything, just trying to describe the actual thing. So here we go. Although Maupassant gave the impression of being simply a bull-necked oarsman and sexual athlete, he had begun writing poetry, with the encouragement of Flaubert's friend Louis Boulhay, and then of Flaubert himself. Gradually, Flaubert and Maupassant had drawn together in an affectionate relationship, exchanging good-humoured and often obscene banter. Good-humoured. And the master of Crécy had persuaded his young friend to try his hand at prose. Deciding that Maupassant was worthy of his tuition, he spent several years patiently coaching him in the art of writing, teaching him first of all the art of seeing. Here we go. Reminding his pupil that talent is a long patience, he told him again and again, there is a part of everything which is unexplored. Because we are accustomed to using our eyes only, in association with the memory of what people before us have thought of the thing we are looking at. Even the smallest thing has something in it which is unknown. We must find it. Having discovered what aspect of a person or object distinguished it from every other of the same race or species, Maupassant had then to describe it for his exacting mentor. Whatever you want to say, he later quoted Flaubert as telling him, there is only one word to express it, only one verb to give it movement, only one adjective to qualify it. You must search for that word, that verb, that adjective, and never be content with an approximation. Never resort to tricks, even clever ones, and never have recourse to verbal sleight of hand to avoid a difficulty. Yeah, so, I mean, that sounds, quite a bit close to, writing rules that Hemingway was going to kind of later be following. You could say he invented it himself, but it seems to be, he's reading those Russians, he's reading those French, learning the lessons from them in their clear, simple style, and the Russians were wanting to write reality rather than, made up worlds, fantasy. Just a thought. Did Hemingway learn from Maupassant as well as Maupassant learning from Flaubert? And who did Flaubert learn from? It's all interesting stuff.